All right, Glue. Glue is the working title of a photo project I've been shooting since 2015. And I need your help. So I started the photo project at the Swiss Perl workshop. This is from the then Perl 6, now Raku hackathon. I've always kind of liked this photo because there's a lot of stuff going on in it. And after, 8 years, I've got about 1,000 photos. And given we've kind of had a missing 2 or 3 years, I think I've still got 2 or 3 years to go to shoot this photo project. But I start to think about the final edit, the final form, so on and so forth. And the way that we usually do this with photo projects is we pick a selection of photos, a long form edit to work with, and then we filter that down to a smaller selection. So this is another one from 2015. I think that's you, John, in the corner there, here. Also in Switzerland. And when we've got those photos, we kind of figure out a sequence, which is kind of a journey, a starting point, a journey and end point. This is Granada in 2015. That's my colleague there, Nicholas. And often as a part of a sequence, we start to pair images together. So those that contrast or complement each other. So for example, this is Orlando, which was 2017, 2018? And it kind of fits with the next image. We've got lots of geometry there. We've got a contrast of one person and lots of people, and kind of the perspective is similar as well. But what I started to think about is how can we pair text with the photos? Because one of the things we can do is pair text. And I was like, what kind of text can I pair with these Perl themed photos? Perl code, right? So I thought I could pair snippets of code with the images. And this is an actual piece of production code I wrote years ago, which kind of fits, because if you read a map from back to front, this is taking a kind of chaotic array of hash references and then sorting it into an array that's sorted by the keys of the hashes. And I think it kind of fits with that image because we have this chaos at the bottom that becomes ordered at the top. And this is a piece of Raku that I wrote when I wrote this talk 4 years ago. Does anybody have an idea what this might be doing? Hopscotch, yep. This is from the French Perl workshop. So if you don't know code, you can kind of look at that image and think, oh, maybe it's hopscotch. Well, what is hopscotch? And I guess it would be nice to address this question, can code be art? This is a talk that Stephen gave at Granada, I think, as well. So what I've done is I've uploaded this CPAN module to, this Perl module to CPAN, Acme Glue. And I would very much like it if you could contribute a small piece of code. And it doesn't have to be Perl 5 or Raku. It can be any snippet of code that you're particularly fond of. And you can create a pull request, and I'll add it to the module, and it might end up in the final photo project. And you don't need to worry about it pairing with any particular image, because the way that these projects work is there's so many images and hopefully so much code that there's this serendipity that things inevitably end up pairing with other things. This is from Washington, DC. That was the DeLorean that had part of its dashboard powered by Perl. So obviously, it would be good to get a little bit of Perl from that project to pair with that image. How do you solve the packing problem for camel-shaped objects? And then there's also addressing some of the history around Perl and the community. And this is an example I didn't know about until Nicholas told me. Do you know why Larry added the hex and bit string formats to pack? So it was when they were working on the Magellan space probe, and it was sending back corrupted data that was bit flipped. So Larry wrote a little program called Kibble to correctly identify the parts of the data that was bit flipped. And that's why the binary and hex formats were added to pack. So that's a talk by Ovid. You can't quite see. So the slide says refueling your spaceship. So that kind of fits with that code there. And as I said, there's a few more years left of these projects, but I think it would be quite cool. I'm not aware of any other photo project like this, so it would be unique and it would add a bit of history. So contribute. Thank you very much.